I want to let you guys know that I have some older videos that I will be re-uploading over the next couple of months, as I've been needing to edit them for a while now. I've already uploaded 2 in the past 6 months, but since they were a few years old, most of you didn't even notice, and some of these videos I can't even remember what I was talking about. So I just wanted to let you know, in case you started freaking out thinking you're having a bad case of deja vu. I will also have to re-upload my last video, as the alleged Bigfoot audio that I thought was credible turned out to be just another hoax. Some of my subscribers told me to never trust anything that's on TikTok, and I have been getting a ton of paranormal TikTok videos in my newsfeed, but some of them are interesting, like this one that shows a helicopter just floating through the air. I thought that maybe it was a balloon or something like that, but it turns out that it has to do with the frame rate of the camera, making it appear that the helicopter is just magically floating through the air. Interesting indeed. But in the comment section, some have stated that they have seen helicopters floating like this before, so you never know, maybe we are living in a simulation. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is about an amazing cryptid known as the Batsquatch. After the Mount Saint Helens eruption, people started reporting that they'd encountered a humanoid creature with an ape-like body, glowing eyes, and bat-like wings. These eyewitnesses also stated that after seeing this creature, they felt a feeling of dread, very similar to that of the Mothman. It was also reported that pets went missing and farmers would stumble upon some of their livestock dead by what appeared to be a very vicious animal, as their bodies were found just ripped to shreds. Now at this time in the 80s, these sightings of the Batsquatch were not really taken very seriously. But in the 90s, there were some very disturbing cases that started to make people wonder. In 1994, a young man, Brian Canfield, was driving through a remote area in the Mount Rainier region when his vehicle just stopped. And Brian was very upset by this because he thought that his truck was in perfect condition. Also, this was not a place where one would want any car trouble because it was a very isolated road. And while he was sitting there wondering what was wrong with his truck, he saw something gliding past his windshield. At first he thought that it was just a bird, but as it kept flying past, he realized that this thing was huge. Now scared out of his mind, Brian kept trying to start his truck, hoping that it would start, but it wouldn't. Then he saw this creature fly to a nearby field, and it just stood there staring at him. Now although Brian was scared to death, he stated that he didn't feel threatened. It just stood there in the middle of the field staring at him with those glowing red eyes. Then about a minute or so later, it took off. And according to Brian, the wingspan was huge. It was about as wide as a road. Now after this creature left, Brian's truck just magically started, and Brian got the heck out of there as fast as he could. And he did say that this creature had the face of a bat. Then that very same year, a pilot claimed that while he was flying over Mount Rainier, he saw a huge humanoid-looking creature flying right next to him. And this creature was flying just as fast as the plane with ease. And this pilot was freaking out. He couldn't believe what he was actually looking at. Then about a minute or so later, this creature, it took off in another direction. And when this pilot landed, he told people right away what he had seen. And most thought that he was nuts. But since there were now 2 reported sightings of this creature back to back, people did start to wonder. The next sighting happened in 1998 when an eyewitness claimed that while walking down an isolated mountain road, he saw a logging truck hit something. At first he thought that maybe a log fell off the truck or something like that. But then he saw a huge humanoid creature with wings sitting down. And this eyewitness stated that it must have been at least 15 feet tall, and he was just staring at it in total disbelief. Then the creature got up and flew away, and this man was shocked at how big the wingspan was. Now according to the eyewitness, it had a small bat-like head, a huge body, and was kind of like a mix between a bat and a human. Now other eyewitnesses did say that this creature was very tall, but not that tall, not 15 feet. So maybe this person was in shock. He also stated that after he reported this sighting, he believed that he was now being followed. Which is interesting, as there are many reports out there from people who have seen UFOs who claim that after they reported their sighting, they believed that they were now being followed and spied on by what was probably a secret government agency. The next sighting happened in 2009, when hikers on Mount Shasta saw a flying humanoid with a bat-like face flying out of a cave. One of these eyewitnesses stated, "Me and my friends were hiking around Mount Shasta, and out of one of the crevices flew out this big creature. I mean, it was huge. It was as tall as a man and as stocky as Hulk Hogan. I believe the wingspan was at least 50 feet from one end to the other. I was holding up my camera at the time, but I was paralyzed with fear as this thing flew by, and sadly, I couldn't get a picture." Now this eyewitness was asked if it had a head like a pterodactyl, and he said no, it had the head of a bat. Now it is believed that sightings of the Batsquatch didn't start until about the 80s after Mount Saint Helens erupted, but there are some other sightings that happened earlier, but the descriptions are a bit different. One such case, which I have covered before, happened in the 70s in Texas, when two brothers David and John were driving down a rural road in the Rio Grande Valley when all of a sudden a bat-winged humanoid landed right in front of their car, and they estimated it to be about 10 feet tall, and the brothers, scared to death, reversed as fast as they could. Then this creature leaped forward as if it was going to attack them, but thankfully for the brothers, it just flew away. Now this sighting sounds very similar to the Batsquatch. It was about the same size, but they said that it had the face of a wolf. So maybe it was Batsquatch's cousin, who knows? And during this time in the 70s, there was another sighting in Texas when a father and son were hunting, when all of a sudden a huge flying creature tried to pick up the father. So the son, scared for his father's life, shot at it, and thankfully this scared the creature and it flew away. And the father was injured. He did have a few broken ribs and some deep talon marks on his body. Now big birds from time to time have been known to try to pick up small kids, but not full-grown adults. So this thing must have been huge. And during this time, there were 10 more sightings, making this one of the most famous and credible cases in regards to a huge unknown flying animal that is yet to be classified by science. But I don't think that any of these eyewitnesses said that it had the face of a bat. So it does make me wonder how many of these things are out there. Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.